Good. It is January 2nd, and we're here talking with Dave. And the first item of conversation has to be Dalton Smith. Where are you on Dalton Smith?
I find that to be an extremely sad chapter in this year's Sabres story.
Really, that I thought that the Tampa was bothered by it last night. Like they weren't into their game the whole game, and then they sent out Shen to start a fight with them, and then they kind of got into their game. But I thought they played poorly the first half of the game. I think part of that is they were thinking about Dalton Smith.
You really think so?
Yeah, I thought they were bothered, from the picture of Shen teaching the defenseman how to fight and things like that. I thought it was a great move, but I'm one of the rare people on Sabres Space anyway, because most people thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah, they definitely were in Cernak's head. I don't know that they were really in the rest of their heads. Also, the Sabres have had spells where they've actually played pretty good. And that first period was definitely one of them. They just flat out couldn't score. Story of their season lately.
So I am bad at cap stuff. It didn't mean anything last night, right? The money that went to Smith.
Oh yeah. It didn't affect the cap at all. They're up using the LTIR cushion. So
yeah, I don't quite understand that, by the way, but like I thought all off season that Toronto wouldn't be able to resign Marner until after the season started, because I thought the cap didn't go down until then, but they were able to sign Marner. So I realized I didn't understand the cap stuff at all.
Well, the one thing that I've found that it seems they're doing that actually I had believed that it worked the other way is that I had been under the impression that before you could put somebody onto the LTIR at the beginning of the year, you needed to be cap compliant. So you'd have to figure out a way to have a bunch of younger guys or whatnot who can clear waivers or don't need waivers, having them down. And then once you are within the cap, then you can go there. But it looks like actually the way how they do it is they include that guy that they're going to put LTIR on in with everybody else. And as long as everybody else has them under what the league cap is, then they're good.
Right. I thought the same way. That's why I thought they couldn't sign Marner, but it doesn't work how I thought it worked.
Right. But the other thing that's like kind of another little twist to it is, the Sabres, their salary cap, not counting Punwick, because he's the only guy that's on LTIR right now. And as long as somebody's on LTIR, it'll stay this way. Their personal cap is about 20 grand less than everybody else in the league, because not counting Hunwick's salary, the team was at just a smidge under the overall salary cap. And that's the number that you have to live with when you go on to LTIR. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. I got that this season. I don't really have a full grasp of it, but I had thought that that bringing up Smith was pretty meaningless, and Travis Yost was talking in one of the threads where he was quoted about how terrible it was for the cap, and I was like, what? But
no, until they're down under the LTIR, until they're under the actual cap threshold, none of this stuff makes anything for them. They're not banking any cap right now at all. And as long as they're not banking cap, it's not like they get some sort of penalty beyond that. It's just actual cash out of pocket. And our owner has said at least once, if not a few times, if he really needs more money, he'll go dig another well. I don't think he had to dig a very big one to pay for Dalton there.
So 31 Thoughts talked about picking up the puck this week. Where are you on that?
Where I'm at on that is I don't particularly have a problem with it, but if the other team that just got scored on or just got made to look foolish, if they get upset and kind of decide to cross-check the guy in the teeth or something, the guy should probably be kind of ready for that.
You are a legislator via the opposing defenseman.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, a lot of these other unwritten rules seem to be going away, but there does still seem to be that unwritten rule of don't make us look stupider than we are. We will get upset, and we will try to retaliate.
So one of the things I want to talk about is Johansson. I think he's hurt.
I'm sure he's been hurt. The last
couple days haven't been so bad.
The last couple of days, I think that he's kind of looking like he did before his original injury. But yeah, I would agree 100% that he's been playing hurt since he came back.
I just want to look at his points per 60 since he's been back. Oh no, I might wreck this. No, I didn't wreck this. Okay, things are okay. 122. 122 is not good enough.
Where is he down there?
Yep. This is points per 60. Yep. And that's not good enough.
No.
But the first game, the first set of games, he was quite good.
Oh yeah.
And it's been sad to see sabres space turn on him. But because 2-3-2 is good enough. So, one of the things I wanted to show you was Eichel last year because he had his brain hurt at midseason as well, and his numbers after New Year's last year were not good. But it's kind of hidden because no one looks at stats like this.
Oh, he definitely was not himself when he
Right, right.
and
But also the whole team played so poorly that no one was screaming about it. But
you did kind of have the Housley effect working.
So after midseason, he is only 183, and that's not good enough. So, and that's even less than Palmerville, and Palmerville was playing on lower lines. So, one of the other things I was looking at this year or recently is New Jersey. This might work. This might not work. Is if you don't look at points per 60, Goose's numbers aren't very impressive. But since they play him 12 or 10 or 12 minutes a night, 1068, he has really awesome numbers, and he's playing very little. And it's like, Jersey, what are you guys thinking? But what else do I want to talk about? Asplund good?
I would say that he's going to be good. He's actually, to me, the last 2 weeks or so has been kind of unnoticeable, whereas earlier he was actually kind of standing out.
Right.
So I think he might be kind of starting to get to that point where they're trying to actually have him be a full hockey player, and there's a little bit of a disconnect there than just playing purely on the adrenaline and getting to be told, just make sure you do this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things I've been thinking watching the team is that lately they've been passing the puck. This is my chart that I showed you last time. But Buffalo had a good game against Ottawa, even though they lost. They had 4-1 Buffalo game, 4 yesterday. So, a couple terrible games here, but not so bad passing the puck. It gives me hope that they're trying to teach people things.
Well, I think they definitely are, and yeah, I kind of forgot in the Ottawa game that they ended up losing that, but they and people on the board don't seem to be too impressed with it because they ended up losing, but they actually played a really good game against Ottawa, but just could not solve Anderson to save their lives.
Right. But another thing I wanted to ask you about was the Bills trading the defensive tackle and the wide receiver. I don't remember the defensive tackle's name, but the wide receiver.
Marcel Darius
and
Sammy
the wide receiver was the guy they traded up for.
Yeah, Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, Sammy Watkins. Now, are those not exactly the O'Reilly and Kane trades?
Um, I would say that they're similar, but not exactly, just because of the way how it's so much easier to get out of contracts in the NFL than it is in the NHL.
But I just mean that, like, the organization didn't like these people, and they felt that they didn't want to be here, so they got rid of them.
Well, part of it also was that, Darius, with all the issues with his brother's death and some other family issues, Darius really was a little bit of a head case, understandably. And Watkins and both Darius, the team kind of viewed them as me first players, and the team didn't want them. Didn't fit into the McBean or one big family routine.
Right, but what I'm trying to get to here is Cyberspace talks endlessly about the O'Reilly trade, but like no one compares it to the Bills, who do no wrong because they're winning, and I think that that there's a very similar approach between the two organizations.
Oh, there absolutely is. And if you were to have checked Scott's Bills board, Two Bills Drive, back when they cut, basically they cut Darius. They got a 5th round draft pick back for him. It's basically cutting. They got a broken cornerback and a 3rd rounder for Watkins. But over on the Bills board, people were insane with going insane about those trades too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been over to Two Bills Drive for quite a while.
Well, they're actually pretty happy with the moves right now. and back when the Sabres were in that 2-1-2 stretch there, where they beat St. Louis and beat Nashville, people on the Sabres board seem to be pretty happy too. Now, we go 1 win in about 8 games, but a ton of those were against some pretty good teams. That really is murderer's row, playing Boston twice in a row and then Tampa.
Yeah. So one thing we disagree with about is the composition of the top line. I think it's a disaster, and that like people need to give Eichel the puck, kind of like Toronto gives Matthews the puck, and like an Eichel goal looks very different than a Matthews goal, and I think someone passing Eichel the puck would help a lot.
Which, in theory, Reinhart should be doing.
Absolutely, and that's my point. Is that if you look at my stuff here, we have 1 Reinhart Eichel, we have 2 Reinhart Eichel, and we have 3 Reinhart Eichel. That's in 40 games. And That's why I think the composition is all wrong because I think they you know what a Jack goal looks like is just depending on Jack, and that doesn't work for everybody else. Um,
I don't what I actually really want to see to change the subject slightly, but still kind of keep it there, is a thing that I know everybody looks to. Hopefully, Cousins comes in and ends up being a stud center. But
too
but
soon.
but and he's not going to be a stud center next year. What I would like to see, and I don't even know if he'll be ready for this next year, but I would love to see Cousins filling that Reinhardt role with Eichel. Have a really big guy that can pass. So then you can have Eichel and either Olafson or Skinner out there. I think that that would be truly like a Colorado, McKinnon, Landeskog, and a Rantanen.
Yeah, I ran the first half of the year for Cousins numbers and on my drafting tool, and and I'm trying not to warn Saberspace that they are thinking too much of Cousins at this point. Because
for long term or just in the first couple of seasons that he shows up to town.
Well, he's not close. It's not like Pedersen's 19th or 18th year was like fantastic, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's going to be good, and Cousins doesn't have that going. Um, you know, um,
So where do you kind of see Cousins slotting in, or do you think that he ends up staying in the WHL next year?
I don't think he's ready for Buffalo. 219.
Well, if he's not ready for Buffalo, then he'll still be in Lethbridge.
No, doesn't he run out of Lethbridge pretty soon?
No, he's got one more year that he'd have to stay away. I'm pretty sure.
Cousins this year. Why is this behaving poorly? What's the number? Oh, shut up, dog. 945 as an 18-year-old is what I have. And we'll just look at forwards. So 18-year-old last year, 945 is right about here. So not terrible, but so think of him as Akil Thomas. A year later, Akil Thomas is still in the minors. Not very different than Veleno. So I'm just saying I'm not totally excited.
Yeah, like I said, I think they need to go external to find that 2C that we desperately need, or we have to do something to get Johansson enough support that he can be credible as that 2C.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
the thing that I'd really like to see is I'd like to see um, Cousins, if if not next year, because I don't want to see him over rushed into something that he can't handle. But 2 years, let him play on Eichel's wing, and then see about is he ready to slide into the 2C slot sometime after that.
yeah. Yeah. See, I think things need to happen faster than this. Like,
Ew.
you know,
Yes.
the, they're going through with loads of problems and not solving any problems. And so, um, they don't seem to be that far away this year, but they're enough far away that I think they have to do something about it, and they're not doing much about
Oh, you won't get any argument from me on that one at all.
it. So
I've only been asking for that 2C to come in since like 2 years ago, and definitely as soon as Berglund left, okay, we got the money. Get somebody.
yeah. Um, but I think there's other problems. I think there's too many scoring defensemen, and I think it kills them on the power play. Um, I was looking at the power play numbers this afternoon, or not the power play, the penalty kill. And on ice goals, this one. No, on ice goals against. On ice goals. You know, Joki Harry's on the ice too much for giving up that much because he's given up like twice as twice what McCabe gives up. And Scandell's not happy. Yeah, VC was terrible in New York last year. And I think a lot of the PK problems are, they have too many tours.
Yeah, no, the defensive core is definitely not balanced by any stretch.
Yeah.
But I still kind of think the PK issue is slightly bigger than that. It's our goaltending, our good goalie is Marty Baron level.
Yeah.
A really good backup of poor man starter. And the guy that was supposed to be able to stay a starter for at least this year, back when Seattle was going to be coming in, he was going to be exposed. And you move on from there. But Seattle delaying a year kind of blows that up.
Yeah.
But
like last night's game, where is it? It's in this one. Not there's an awful lot of, Tampa had an awful lot of opportunities, good opportunities there, and scored, 3-4 times that way. So I didn't feel like last night the goaltending was bad, even though he gave up 6 goals on 28 shots, which is why I don't find that stat usable. Um, Tampa had an awful lot of really good shots last night.
Oh,
And
they absolutely did.
and especially their power play, they're very good at at getting a high percentage shot. One of my thoughts is Buffalo has to take the puck out of Eichel's hands, give it to Dahlin, because then they have 2 guys that can actually shoot that don't have the puck. And I think that would solve some problems. But like Botterill, Kruger seems real slow to change.
Yeah, I'd say there's yeah, I would definitely say that Kruger is slow to change.
Yeah.
But I think also he's fairly happy with what he's getting out of the Larson line. Getting away from the PK stuff, which something has to change, and on the power play, something absolutely has to change.
Right.
On 5-on-5, he's happy with 2 of the lines.
Right.
He's trying to find a way to make chicken salad out of the parts left.
So I told you last time that I also look at Vegas as a comparison to see what whether other teams get as few good opportunities as Buffalo does, and I'm looking at Vegas games. It's not only the top guys that are getting around 20 passes to and 20 passes from, but there's a much bigger depth, whereas you look at Buffalo, Eichel's okay from, and Olsen is great too, but that's about it. You have people, scorers in single digits, and I think that's killing them. They don't pass the puck to each other. Well, one funny thing I noticed was Larson doesn't pass the puck to Gergensen. Is that the 4 Larson passes are to here's one I missed, but 1's to Skinner, 2's to Skinner, 3's to Oposo, and 4 to Reinhardt, which is kind of funny because he's always playing with Gergensen.
In fairness, though, if there's one guy that's currently on the Sabres roster who has worse hands than Larry does.
That's what I'm saying is like, I think players are very cognizant about who they're passing to, because Carrier has a terrible shot and no one passes to him. And one thing I noticed looking at Vegas that I don't notice looking at Buffalo is that people seem to owe the other player when you give them an opportunity. Um, so quite often there's like a Carlson to Smith and a whoops no there's a bad example. Um,
Pacioretty to Stone, Stone to Pacioretty.
Stastny to Zykov, and then a Zykov to Stastny, and uh, Smith to Marchessault, and Marchessault to Smith. Like Buffalo doesn't seem to have that culture where you they kind of feel that they owe each other if the other person gave them a good opportunity, which I didn't really notice until going through this stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now, one thing that I'm hoping we'll start seeing again, they had it way at the very beginning of the year. Those first couple of games, they really were moving the puck well, and I think they definitely got away from that when they hit that first skid.
Yeah. Um, but my argument is that lately they haven't been playing bad. You know, I thought the first, you know, I thought the Tampa game they played fairly well offensively, and as I said before, the Ottawa game and the second Boston game. So Boston is interesting to watch because 63. I'm terrible with names. Marchand. Marchand seems to be playing a different game than the rest of the team. Like the Boston second and third line don't pass the puck to each other any more than the Buffalo's second or third line does. But Marchand, seems to find someone open twice a game, which is a ridiculous number.
And it helps to be playing with Pasternak and Bergeron too, because those guys.
Oh, sure, sure.
But it's funny you say the Bruins, second and third lines don't do much. If you look at it, if you could find a way to pull that first Bruins line off, it's pretty much an even game the rest of it, because you got Bruins power play, which we can't really stop, and you got their top line, which the Sabres had serious issues with. The rest of it, they were pretty even with, but right now they just flat out don't have an answer for that top line. Of course, there really aren't a whole lot of teams that do.
Yeah, but I think my argument here is like watching Vegas and watching Washington, I believe that they are better coached teams. But the difference between, and you see that in the second and third lines, that they get a lot more offense out of them. Whereas Boston, it doesn't seem like anyone's getting the second and third line to have higher percentage chances. It seems just like they have a couple better players.
Oh, they They definitely have better players. I would take that Boston line over any other line in the league. Absolutely. Even over Colorado's first line or either Toronto's top.
Well, Edmonton probably scores more.
They probably do, but how many do they end up giving up too?
Right. See, Krejci's at 210, and he's fourth among the players. And then DeBrusque is just 182, and 182 is okay, but it's not that great. The Coil's at 181. But there's a pretty big drop off in scoring. More like Buffalo's drop off. I haven't looked at Washington in forever. But like, Washington has a lot of guys in the twos. And I think my argument is that I don't think a 2C solves the problem, and that the problem is about depth of scoring, which I think comes from coaching, not trying to get talent. But I might be wrong.
Yeah, I would dispute you on that, but you definitely have some numbers to back your stuff up.
Well, what I'm saying is that watching Washington play and watching Buffalo play, they take very different approaches to how to score goals. Like the Buffalo approach is you either have Eichel make a great play like last night, or Eichel passes it to Olsen, or Reinhardt tips it in. And you don't have much past that. And I don't think I don't think adding another forward solves that problem. I'm not sure that it's a talent thing. Is all I'm saying. Is I think it's an approach thing.
It could be. It'll be interesting seeing how it evolves over the next say month, because they've now been exposed to what Kruger's trying to get them to do for 3 months, 4 if you count September, the preseason. But they've now been exposed to it enough. They should be starting to get it. And maybe.
So why do you think there is a good month, a bad month, and then a okay month?
The good month, I think, was probably due to 3 things. One, Hutton hadn't fallen off the face of the earth yet. 2, listen to the Kruger talk, and he is a good motivator. There's a reason why the people in Davos have him come and give one of their talks, and all those people are there. He really does a good job on the motivation side. And three, I think that other teams kind of overlook the Sabres to start the year. I mean, there's no way the Penguins expected to have the Sabres just skating around them that very first game.
All right. Well, I have noticed that they've been getting fewer backups lately. I don't know if it's random or whether they're being taken a bit more seriously. But they're seeing more good goaltenders, at least lately.
They have, and I'm sure that I wasn't the only one bemoaning the fact that, wow, those guys have Vasilevsky, and absolutely nothing against Linus. Like I said, I think that he's kind of a Marty Baron. I really liked Marty Baron. He was no Hasek, but he was no Miller either. But they've got Vasilevsky. The other guys, they've got Rask. Craig Anderson isn't the greatest thing since sliced bread, but he traditionally is a saber killer. And Halak, not incredible goalie either, but last 2 times he's played us, he shut us out.
Yeah.
And if our goaltending was just, heck, honestly, if our goaltending was even like Anderson level, that then itself might have us have a few of those 7 points right now that we're behind on the pace to make the playoffs.
So what do you do now? Do you send Hutton to Rochester and look at someone else, or?
What I do is I ride Linus until the Detroit game. I put Hutton in, and if he plays like he did in that Philadelphia game, I am asking Taylor which one comes up, Hammond or the kid.
Johansson.
Yeah. And sorry, Hutton, I know you're a really good team guy and everything, but we can't have Baba Senza as the backup.
Yeah. No. I agree. I think it moves all too slow. And
and I think that they're planning on having the opportunity to try to make moves this off season, but that's too late.
Right.
These guys like Michael and Bristolainen, who might end up being part of what goes out to get that piece that you really need. It's got to be frustrating for those guys. Their entire career in Buffalo, they've struggled to get near 500.
So why is Risto better this year?
2 things. First off, much fewer minutes, especially when they're playing the 7D. When they go 7D, he's down around 20 minutes. When they just do 6, he seems to get all of the minutes that the 7D would bring in. And the other is, it seems to me like when they're covering in the zone, they're playing more of a man rather than just kind of sitting out there covering an area. I don't believe that Risto is very good at covering an area. He's good at covering a man. And Eichel definitely is not good at covering an area. But you say, hey, Jack, whoever, you cover this guy. If this guy and that one switch, okay, you stay with the lower one. But, you know, so, yeah, I think that just the way they're playing defensively, and yeah, they still have issues there to a degree, but nowhere near like they did last year. I mean, how many times last year did we see Bristow and Eichel looking at each other as guys are just circling around the zone going, okay, what do you go there? I could how what? And now, you know, they're looking like they kind of almost know what they're doing. There's still room for improvement, but they look a lot better.
Yeah, yeah, a bit less time. A bit less time. Well, I think I'm done for the night. Ooh, that's my whole list. Do you have anything you wanted to talk about?
About the only thing that I did, can you do it kind of quickly, is, yeah, I know we've kind of gotten to a stretch where we aren't all that thrilled at how they've been playing, but the Sabres are down to just 6 2 games and 2 night stretches left the whole rest of the year, and one of them's even both games are at home. Only one of them is 2 roads. They play Vegas, then the next night they go to Arizona. And a lot of these, you know, one of them they play Vancouver, then they're in Detroit the next night. A little later in the month, they'll play Detroit at home, go to the Rangers, play at Pittsburgh, face Winnipeg at home, go to Montreal, play Boston, and then the 2 at home, Chicago and the Rangers. So, you know, that's a lot easier than what they've been doing.
Yeah.
Also, they have no games left against Tampa Bay. They've got 1 game left against Boston. They got 1 against Toronto in the place where we actually beat Toronto, Toronto South. Yeah, we have to go into St. Louis, which, yeah, chalk that up bad. But one game left against the Islanders. They still have 2 against Washington. They haven't played Colorado yet. They haven't played Vegas yet. But they've also still got 10 games left against bottom feeders, 2 against the Rangers. They still have 3 games left against Detroit, home and home against Ottawa. They'll probably lose in Ottawa unless we can talk them into playing their backup. Still get New Jersey again. They got Edmonton tonight. They got Chicago still. I don't think that they're going to improve enough to make the playoffs, but I think we're going to see them play better in the second half of the year or get better results just based on the teams that they'll finally be starting to play.
All right.
Opponents matter, and the structure of it matters too.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll get a couple changes that help things a bit.
We can hope.
Everyone thought that Rochester was going to be pretty good, but I guess they are pretty good this year.
Yeah, they seem to be. I haven't really had a chance to follow them a whole lot this year, but yeah, they seem to be towards the top in their division.
Yeah,
which is good.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for your time, and we'll talk again.
Sounds good.
All right. Talk to you later, Dave.
Yep. Time to go hear Dougie sing a song. Take care. Happy New Year.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, Happy New Year to you. How do I turn off this record?
Oh no.
Turn off the record. How do I turn off the record? Not this button. Meetings? No. Oh no, no. That's not stop sharing. I have to figure out how to turn off.
I don't know, but I'm gonna quit Zoom. Maybe that'll help you.
Okay. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Stop recording. Okay.